Okay, what we're going to try and do just now is we're going to create a small sequence in Flash with just the numbers 3, 2 and 1, perhaps the other way around. And we're going to add a play button and also give the script the means of stopping in places where we want it to. With a simple play button you could animate your cartoon really simply, and it'd be up to you to find ways of making that more interesting. Let's start by adding a number 1. Just place it on the screen there. Now if we want that 1 to be a graphic rather than a font, we're going to have to break it apart. So right click, break it apart, now it's a graphic, or lots of pixels. If you wanted to have more than one number, you'd have to break it apart twice. So just stick with one letter, or remember to break apart twice. Then, down here on the timeline, we're going to insert a blank keyframe where we're going to put the number 2. Okay, and just so we can see the difference really clearly, let's change the colour of number 2 and have a red button. Break that apart too. There you go. And finally, let's have another blank keyframe. Okay, that's a blank keyframe. We're going to insert number 3. We'll put that in the middle there roughly. Change the colour and break that apart too. There. So if you watch what we've got now, play that. It's just a count 1, 2, 3. Okay, if you go down to the timeline here, click in between the keyframes and right click, create a shape tween. Okay, and you'll see it magically transforming. Okay, and again in between those two, create shape tween. Let's try and play that. Right, lovely, we've got a nice 3 simple animations. Now then, we want that to be controlled by a button. We don't want it to play every time on its own. So first of all, we're going to add a layer and we'll call that controls. Okay, so that's controls. Let's draw in there a control button. Okay, you can do any button you want. I'm going to choose to draw a play button, which normally would be a triangle. Triangle of course has 3 sides, so you can choose a 3-sided polygon. There you go, there's my play button. I'll just point it in the right direction. That makes sense. There you go, rough and ready, but there's the play button sitting down there. And as you can see, that's filled up the timeline above my animation. Now what I want to do with that is convert it to a symbol. I'll just lift it up the screen there. We're going to convert that to a symbol, and the symbol we're going to choose is button. And let's give that a name, we'll call it play button. Okay. And you'll see over here the properties tab now lights up for that button, and you need to also give it an instance name. There we go, play button. And this is how the code's going to recognise the button. Just drag that down there into a kind of a sensible place. Now we need one more layer. So we're going to add a layer for the script just to keep it separate. And we'll call that actions. There we go. As you can see, that's created some space on the timeline to match the others. We can right click in there, and this is where the magic happens. We're going to right click, choose actions from the bottom of the right click, and this is where the code's going to go, and here's some I've created earlier. And as you can see, I've used that for another button, so I'm going to match that. We'll call it play button. If you look, just check that code. The first thing that's going to happen is it's going to stop. Yeah, just highlight that. It's going to stop it playing, so from the beginning it won't actually play automatically anymore. And then it's going to look for the play button. As you can see here, there's an event listener, which basically means the script is going to look out for somebody clicking the mouse on the button called play button. And then it's going to use the function play now. And then hopefully it will just play. And these brackets, they're all just there just to make the code work. And this is the simplest bit of code that we could use to make this play. You might want to look up on YouTube for some more tutorials or something like that and get that to work. Well, let's test it first of all. These things don't always work first time. Okay, we've got to go Control, Test Movie. As you can see, it's now not playing automatically as it did before. We've got the button there, the mouse turns to a hand when you do it. Click that, there's 1, 2, 3. Let's just add one more refinement to that before we let you work on its own. Look at the timeline down here. There are places where it would be great if it just stopped for our graphic novel. That might be scene 1 or the title. We want it to play till it gets to scene 2. So let's add a frame in there. We've got actions all the way, so we're going to add in a blank keyframe on the actions. And all we need to put in there, under actions, just to make it stop, is stop, open and close brackets. Let's test that. As I said before, these things don't always work. Control, test movie. Okay, here we go. 2, and it stopped. Brilliant. 3, and then straight to the end. Let's have it finish at the end as well. Might as well do everything. Insert. Right, here we're going to go convert to blank keyframe. Actions, and all we need there is stop, open and closed. Okay, same thing. Test that movie. As you can see, that stops in all the desired places, and if we keep going it just goes back to the beginning. I'm sure you'll be able to improve on that, put some of your own refinements into it. That's the simplest way to go from one scene to another using Flash and ActionScript 3. Have fun.